up, guys? John from Heavysettactical. Today we're just going to take a brief look at a knife that was sent to me by Choir Boys Cutlery. My buddy Scab over at Choir Boys is a friend of mine and just a great guy. So he got this design from a guy whose channel is called Shade Indonesia. So this is a prototype blade. Micarta handle scales. Just an excellent, I really like the red liners on there too. This is a huge blade made of 5160 steel, which is a decent hard use steel for something like this, where you just need the utmost amount of strength. So it didn't come with a lot of specs, so I'm just going to show you guys size-wise and just talk about this blade for a minute. We have a 9-inch blade with a choil on there. So a 9-inch blade, 8 inches of cutting surface. It's got that really cool, almost tracker-like design. And then a big forward thumb grip. First, like a front grip, further grip. Nice amount of jimping here. Really love the handle design. Super comfortable. I don't use a lot of knives with a ring, but for chopping, that kind of works out. This was a blade. You can go on Instagram and check out the designer, Shade Indonesia. Really, really cool stuff. They do a lot of big choppers, a lot of 5160 work with this steel. This is the Little Angel 2. And this is a blade in 15 inches in length exactly with an 8-inch cutting edge. This is a blade that's that's a prototype for Work Tough Gear to design a version of. So it's going to be very similar, probably an SK85 or another hard use carbon steel that they like to use. So Scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery sent this over to me, and I'm right in the middle of a job change, so it's just been crazy, crazy time. We're going to go out in the barn. We got the first snowfall of the year this year in Lancaster, southern Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So we are going to go out and we're going to do some industrial type cutting tasks with this out in my barn. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys just an up close look. He did send it to me with some use on it and a small chip in it. But this is not a very chippy steel. It's just a very slight roll. I wouldn't even call it a chip. But needless to say, it's used. So I did not get it brand new. But it is one of those designs that I think is supposed to be... it's one of those interesting designs that Work Tough Gear has a hand in a lot, which is a big, overbuilt, aggressive knife, but it's so functional and comfortable that you could literally still get really practical use out of it. So now I wanted to show you guys the sheath, and you know me, I do very honest reviews. The sheath fits great, but it's a lot of rattle. I'm not sure what Work Tough Gear is going to do. A lot of rattle in the sheath, but it does fit very nicely in that these designs that are a tracker like, or what's that other blade shape? Oh my goodness gracious. There are certain blade types that you can't, you have to have a bigger opening. So, other Kydex sheaths could close off right here, but because of the front of the blade is bigger, you kind of have to have this awkward opening for it to fit in there. So this one slides in like that and then kind of drops in. Honestly, it's not a bad carry. So for what its intended use is, it's not a sneak around tactical knife. This is more of a bang around hard use woods knife or brush clearing knife. You could do a lot of industrial cutting with this. But, like I said, a lot of people are going to look at this and be like, who the hell would really carry that? Well, I have a lot of blades, man, that a lot of people probably wouldn't buy or probably wouldn't like, because I like aggressive overbuilt blades. It's got about a little less than a 1/4 inch thickness, nice and thick, but it's not too heavy. It's really nimble. So, yeah, we're going to go out and do some cutting with it. I wanted to just show you guys a size. 15 inches overall, almost on the dot. 8 inches of cutting length. about an 8.5-inch blade, if I'm looking correctly at it, an 8.5, 9-inch blade. But just a really devilishly comfortable knife. It's funny, when you get it in hand, it's very comfortable. It would be a good chopping blade to chop right into that curve there. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys an up-close look. We're going to go out and do some cutting with it. Let's get started. What's up, guys? John from Heavysettactical, enjoying the first snowfall of the year. And one thing is very apparent to me that we're going to talk about in another video. These are some cheap, hard-knuckled tactical gloves that were on sale on eBay for like 16 bucks. Immediately, they got wet, hands are frozen. This is a hack I saw on Wrangler Star. Take some, you know, medical nylon gloves, whatever they are made out of. Then put your hand in a glove. If all you have in a bad situation is crappy, you know, gloves that are going to get wet and soak straight through. My hands have been warm since. So we're going to take a minute out in the snow, because I'd like to show you guys a little more about this Little Angel 2. This is a design that I spoke about in the beginning of the video a little bit. This is the Little Angel 2 by Shade Indonesia, and it's one of those really crazy designs with that crazy piercing tip, but it's so comfortable that it's something that you actually want to use and try out. So we're going to do a little bit of stuff with this, kind of see how it chops, and enjoy the snowfall while it's coming down. So let's check it out. This is in 5160, so we have to make sure when you're done using tools like this that will rust. Hard steel, but it will rust. It's a carbon steel. You know, make sure that you dry it appropriately and treat it the way it should be treated. It's a crazy looking knife, and it's very big, but it's not that uncomfortable to wear on my belt. It's kind of funny. It doesn't carry that bad. So again, thank you to Scab from Choir Boys Cutlery for sending this to me. Let's do a little bit of cutting with it. I'm rocking the Shade Indonesia prototype. Now this is a blade that is going to be mass produced by Work Tough Gear. It is in 5160 hard steel that's very, very usable, easy to put an edge back on, but it does rust. So make sure you treat your blades accordingly. And like I say with everything, you take care of it, it'll take care of you. My nephew's out there. Ugh. Sorry about the camera today, guys. We're in demo mode, setting up the barn for some knife making and kind of moving stuff around, so we got a little bit messy out in the barn right now. I just want to do some kind of light chopping. Ooh, man, that thing stuck right in there. I want to do some light chopping tasks with this and just kind of see how it fares. So let's, man, guys, this thing is a whiz, and I'm not even choking back on it. Man. Man, that little kind of almost swedge-like cutout is almost like a tracker. It just grabs material. Man, this thing's a monster. Now I want to see, it could use a sharpen, but I want to see if it almost has that like, I'm sure Work Tough Gear is going to do this with a really nice edge on it. This thing could use a sharpen, but I wanted to just do some initial thoughts on how it feels and what I think about the design. It has that pinky ring. This thing's a chopper, dude. Right in half. Very little effort. Hell of a result. Let's baton this. I hope you guys can see this okay. Let's break down some kindling. Man, there's something about the profile of this knife that's real gradual. It has a very, very high saber with that false edge clip point. So it's got a lot of charisma for cutting, to be honest with you. 2 strikes. This thing is totally usable for breaking down kindling and doing other, you know, camp-related tasks with it. Something else I want to see is I'd like to grab a piece of cardboard and kind of see how the cutting profile of the cardboard feels in my hand. So again, excuse the very juvenile camera angle right now, guys. I'm on demo mode in the barn this week. So I got just a small piece here, because even though this really needs a sharpen, it's very, with that high saber grind, it's very usable. And guys, there's something magical that trackers, I'm not a big tracker guy, but that profile, everything catches right there where my finger is on that profile, and it almost gives like a grabbing action and keeps it right in that tuck right there. So it's such a useful profile, and it makes this big knife, even though it needs a sharpen, just grab material. So it's a very functional type of blade. Yeah, it needs a sharpen, but I like it. There's something about the designs that Work Tough Gear takes on that I'm sure if I gave this a good sharpen on my belt sander in there and put a nice convex edge on it, it would be, as even though it's a very aggressive design, it would be a super moderately usable knife, you know what I mean, that you can use in the woods, you can use for camp tasks. It's very aggressive though. Almost looks like something Blade would have. It'd be cool to have a dual set of these on a chest mount or back mount. But again, that 9-inch blade gives you a lot of real estate to do things with. It's a very comfortable handle. The jimping's not aggressive. I'm telling you, it looks very aggressive, but it's a super functional knife. And I don't want to... So guys, all in all, I didn't do that much cutting with this, but I used it enough to feel how the handle geometry is and the blade geometry. And again, it has that tracker style kind of... it's not a swedge, it's not a swoop. I'm trying to think of a better, more professional word to say about this angle. This bevel just catches everything right in that angle very nicely. So you could do some feather sticks with this thing. Needs a sharpen, so that's why I'm not doing a feather sticking video right now. Really comfortable ergonomics. I'm just a big fan of it, and it's not something that I would obviously daily carry, but like, you know, if I was going out in the woods for a couple hours and wanted to take something that's going to hack, slash, and feather stick, this thing is definitely usable. The design on the hilt of this knife, and today I really just wanted to talk more about design. So this knife is nice. 1 thumb bridge, 2 thumb bridge, 1, 2. So it has a step down. Very, very minor jimping here. That's just comfortable enough to get a good grab. But the back has these 2 cutouts, almost like it wants you to pinch here. And I believe that's for racking your pinky back like this for doing some chopping. Then you have another, you can put your pinky in there and grab back here with 3 fingers and chop. It's very usable. It's just a very unique profile. And for some reason, you know, Scab sent me this. This is from Shade Indonesia. They sent it to him, and it's a prototype blade that's being produced by Work Tough Gear. So I'm hoping that they keep it very much so like this original. It's just an awesome blade. It really is. And I wish I kind of had more tasks to do with it. But, you know, it's one of those blades where I know if I put out some cordage and I put out some, it's going to chop right through it. It has the weight. But it's more or less what I wanted to talk about today is the profile of the knife and the handle. And it's a very aggressive style with that big clip point, but it's also usable. It's almost like a big tracker with a clip point, which is just a cool design. It does have these really nice red liners with micarta handles, black micarta handles. Just really love the work. Shade Indonesia is a a company and a guy, a designer that I have never heard of before now. So he's on Instagram. So down in the link, I'll put some stuff about them and a way to find their Instagram so you guys can check their designs out. Really stoked to see what they have going on with Work Tough gear. By means of this blade, I'm definitely going to grab one and give it a full test. So pretty excited for that. The logo, the reason I haven't really showed you up close in the logo is a lot of it's rubbed off, but it just says Shade Indonesia with their signature logo in there, which is actually really cool. It's a Spartan helmet skull. Very, very small. I'm sure they'll make the logo bigger. This is just a prototype. But yeah, really cool knife. Super sharp 90-degree spine. Once you get past here, it's from there up. So you could definitely hit a ferro rod with it. Has a hole here for lashing. I guess if you wanted to do a spear on it, or put a I've seen guys do pretty flashy stuff with a lanyard that on the front of the handle to hold their handle in place a little bit when they're chopping. But yeah, overall, super excited that Scab sent this to me. I didn't get to do a lot of testing with it. I'm in the middle of a job change, and it's been pouring every weekend in Lancaster, and now it's snowing. So it's not an excuse, but, I still go hiking when it's raining sometimes, but, and test out my weather gear. But it's just been a long couple of weeks. So I told Scab I wanted to get a full, kind of more up close and personal review of this blade out. And I wanted to show you guys kind of how badass this thing is. It's a badass knife design that's coming through the pipeline at Work Tough Gear, Shade Indonesia design. So I'm going to stop carrying on and blabbing. I wish I would have done more cutting with it, but really it's the profile. I was more, because I know this thing's going to smash through chopping tasks and kind of do all that. We went over specs. So, I'm excited to see what Work Tough Gear is going to do with this blade profile. And that's the fire station in my small town down the road telling me to stop doing my video and shut up. So you guys have a great day. Anybody in Central PA, please drive safe today. It's nasty out. This is John from Heavysettactical. And like always, guys, stay safe and stay heavy.